to the Thought Snob Podcast. I'm Paula Swope. Let's get snobby. Have you ever wondered if you're psychic? If you have, take a few minutes and listen to my experience. If you can relate to what I'm about to share, this episode may help you make sense of things you haven't been able to explain before. Psychic ability is not a one-size-fits-all. It shows up differently in different people. There's also a spectrum. There are levels. Some people have a very strong sixth sense. Others just have a touch of it. Now, this may piss some people off, but I don't believe everyone has this gift. I just don't. I know plenty of people who should actually do the opposite of whatever they think they should do. That's how far off their intuition is. And that doesn't make them bad people. It makes them disconnected. Life interferes with intuition. Emotional trauma, alcoholism, drugs, mental illness, chronic stress, staying in survival mode, all of that buries intuitive signal. When I was a binge drinker and carrying a ton of unprocessed emotional trauma, my intuition wasn't firing at all. Maybe here and there, but I didn't feel connected. And if you're psychic, you know exactly what I mean when I say that. With me, I noticed something very early in life. I didn't see spirits or anything like that. What I saw were people, their behavior, their energy, their emotional state. And I used that information to make predictions. I could be around someone and just know certain things about them. The information didn't come from my thoughts necessarily. It came from my feelings. I've always been able to look at someone and know if they're happy or sad. I don't analyze it. I don't judge. I don't guess. I just know. It's an inner knowing. It's this non-audible voice that speaks so very clearly. Now, if you can't relate to any of that at all, you probably aren't psychic. And if you disagree with me, leave a comment. I genuinely want to know why. I don't know everything there is to know about this. So your comments to me are data. Now, over the past decade, my intuition has become so strong that I can rely on it. Anytime I go against it, I absolutely pay the price. And here's a perfect example of that. In 2019, I decided to write my first book. The entire process was a disaster. And it was a textbook case of what happens when I ignore intuition and make decisions based solely on logic and fear. So I got connected with a vanity publisher, and at the time, I didn't know what that meant. But on the very first phone call, I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach. I started the call excited, and by the end of it, my energy had bottomed out. I felt deflated and I felt icky. It's just this icky feeling that I get. And my intuition said, Paula, don't do this. Don't hand over your credit card information. Don't do this. But I did it anyway, out of fear. And my ego stepped in and said, well, you're not famous. You have to start here. They know more than you do. You don't even have time to write this book. You're too busy working 60, 70 hours a week. You don't have time to do this. You have to hire this person. So 2 years later, I had spent $25,000 and had nothing to show for it except a book that I couldn't sell. Painful lesson. But wisdom doesn't have a price tag. In 2019, I was overworked, stressed, and pushing when it wasn't time to push. I knew that instinctively, but I forced it, controlled it. That's the shit that blurs and buries psychic intuition. Here's what enhances it: saying no to things you don't want to do. Chronic frustration, irritation, sadness, and any low vibe emotional state held for too long will kill intuition. Rushing is especially destructive. Rushing is as bad for my health and well-being as eating fast food. I hate to rush. It turns me into someone that I don't even like. So I stopped doing it, and I avoid it at all cost because I need my intuitive sense and I want to cultivate it. And here's how strong it is now. Last summer, I had friends over to watch fireworks. Now, one woman in our friend group, she couldn't make it. And I had had a bad feeling about her for a while, and I had been pretty vocal about that. And that night, I told everyone, something is going to happen to her. It's health related. Her health is going to fail her. It will be a catastrophic health event. It will come on suddenly, and it will knock her off her feet. That was a Saturday. By Thursday, she was in the emergency room, and that started what ended up being a 6-month healing journey. And I won't share details about what happened because it's not my story to tell. So when I say things like that, people sometimes look at me like I'm crazy or I'm dramatic. But when it happens, they don't say much. They don't have too much to say. And I'll even say, you remember me saying this? Write this shit down. And I'm not obsessed with being right. I'm obsessed with clarity. Because when I get confirmation, my confidence grows, and confidence strengthens intuition. You have to believe in your intuitive ability for it to expand. People get mad when you tell them things they don't want to hear. Instead of using their free will to run interference, they could say, okay, how do I change course? They just choose to ignore it, and then the shit hits the fan. Now, I also receive positive messages too. I can sense when things will work out. Even when they look awful, I'll tell someone, this is going to pan out in your favor somehow, and they don't hear it. They don't even hear that. Their response is, well, there's no way. And then they list a million reasons why they're destined for disaster. Mindset's powerful. A fixed mindset is extremely powerful because it controls a person completely. You can't change a fixed mindset if someone doesn't know that they have one. And I used to be that person, so I can speak on it without judgment. Now, I can sense openness, or, if somebody's closed up, I can sense that immediately. I can tell if someone's lying. I can tell if they're hiding something. If they're at ease or anxious, if their relationship is healthy or not. I can tell if they can be trusted. If they love their job or hate it, even when they say they don't hate their job. If they do, I know that they do. If someone wears a mask, I can see behind it. And if I get a glimpse of what's behind that mask and my curiosity won't let it go, something's wrong. Someone is at risk, or I need to protect myself. Now, let me share the hardest example here. Years ago, I left the house for a hair appointment, and as I was walking out the door, something came over me and told me not to leave my 2 dogs alone together. And I was really confused about that, and I had a Pekingese and a golden retriever. There was no logical reason to worry. And they were wagging their tails, looking just, as happy as they could be. And I dismissed the feeling And I even said to myself, Paula, you're crazy. You're just crazy. And I armed our alarm system and I left. 10 minutes down the road, that icky feeling hit me harder than it ever had. I mean, it washed over me. I remember vividly driving the car and felt it. And I wanted to turn that car around and go back home so bad, but I didn't because I had a hair appointment. Well, months later, I discovered the golden retriever had been abusing my Pekingese, and the abuse ultimately led to his death. I mean, it was horrific and traumatizing, and I will never fully get over that. If I had listened to my intuition, I could have prolonged his life because I would have found out what was going on a lot sooner. The only time I've ever ugly cried on social media was when my Pekingese passed away. That experience taught me something critical. The inner knowing about people and outcomes, like, that feels different. It's calm, grounded, and even peaceful. But that icky, like, urgent feeling that just comes over me, and I'm like, oh, ooh, that's a warning. That's protection. So, if this resonates with you and you want to cultivate your intuition, avoid what annoys and triggers you. Build confidence. Track your hits. Reflect on your misses. Regulate your nervous system daily. Breath work, meditation, silence, solitude, and communicating with the divine create space for intuition to come through. Where, noise, rushing, excessive socializing, and like constant talking kills it. In my experience, breath work has been nothing short of a miracle. I mean, your breath will show you what you really want if you let it. And I have videos on breathwork techniques if you want to go deeper. You can check my YouTube channel, my personal YouTube channel. And I've also published a few podcast episodes teaching breathwork techniques as well. And you can visit my website, paulaswope.com, if you happen to want to work with me one-on-one with breathwork. I believe in the breathwork piece of the work that I do more than I do anything else that I do. So I'll stop here. But I would love to hear from you. If this resonated, leave a comment and share your story. And I appreciate you being here with me today, and I will see you next week.
The Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope has been brought to you by Thought Snob Media in association with Special Purpose Studios. All production, mixing, and sound engineering by me, Will Swope. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars and leave a review. See you on the next Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope.